Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you guys are with me. Gosh, can I just let you know how much has gone on while I was playing catch up and I had Brett, the disgruntled millennial, sitting in for me on Friday. But between when I left off on the show on Thursday, over the weekend, etc., we are talking about a handful, aren't we? I'm talking about a two-man lift of information about these leftists. You're finding out things about these fools that you never knew. You suspected maybe, but you weren't sure. We're talking Uranium One. We're talking about things that were so obvious to us that it's shocking that the left even bothered to bring it up. I'm talking about these Russians. I told you guys at the time that the left brought it up. I said, you know why they're bringing up the Russians? Because they're involved with the Russians. You know what I've told you? Should we all say this together? The left tell you what they do by telling you what they suspect you of doing. If they call you a racist, it's because they're racist. If they call you a misogynist, it is because they are misogynists. Okay, Mr. Weinstein? Are you going to finally start to pay attention? You are. I know you are. I'm not trying to chastise you. We all had a good weekend, didn't you? You have a good weekend? Did you do like a Halloween haunted house or something with the kids or even with the adults? Those are fun. Whatever you did, I promise you, the left didn't rest. They still are trying to figure out how to spin something. Like, for example, they're still trying to spin after all the things that Harvey Weinstein has done, after everything that we know Hollywood is involved in, they still bring up Donald Trump. They still bring up conservative men and call us misogynists. Let me tell you what we are. We're the guys that open the door for a woman. We're the guys that pick up a check for the woman. We're the guys who the word courting was used for back in the day. Because we courted women. We respect. I'm not telling you we don't do wrong. We're not perfect. We're dudes. But at least we have some modicum of respect. We have enough respect for women to tell them, don't be men. No, be better than us, because you know what? The way we think of you guys, the way we think of conservative women, we look at it as God told us, okay, guys, y'all think you're all that in a bag of chips, huh? Let me show you a woman. And we went, you know what, God? You got us right there, buddy. You got us right there. People who don't want to go to blows every time something comes up, people who are not hotheads, people who have a compassion that is inside of their DNA that we don't possess. They have to help us find that. And you know how they do it? They bear our children. And that's what settles us down. Because we have this chemical called testosterone that pumps through our veins. And that chemical is what makes a man go, what did you just say? So that is the reason. That is the reason why a bull elephant in Musk is not to be messed with. Not by his handler, not by anybody. Leave him alone. And what we do, women learn to control our musk. They add fragrance. They add flowers. They add florals. Ooh, you're a bit musky, Kevin. Here's some florals. And they do the things. They make us do the things that we don't want to do sometimes. They're like, hey, you need to go out and play with your son. You're like, what? You need to go play with your son. I'm busy. They go, yeah, but you're a dad and you got to go do that. That time's important. You're not going to get it back. Don't be a workaholic. Take a vacation. Get out and go golf. Go hit the gym. Go work up some endorphins or release some endorphins. Whatever they give you. And you're like, okay, whatever. And you do it and you're like, wow, that was pretty cool. That's a good thing. But what I'm telling you, folks, is these leftists they want to take the manliness out of you. It isn't that they want to, a good conservative woman says, no, I want a man, but I want him to be sensitive. I want him to understand the other side of the equation. And that's cool. But a conservative woman doesn't want to take your manhood from you. Let a woman, say something like, you're such a pansy. Get away. She's not a conservative woman. Now, a leftist woman will call you a pansy. A conservative woman will respect you as a man. And she, for the most part, she will do it all the time. She won't challenge manhood. And that's not to say challenge of womanhood versus manhood. It's not a pit of one against the other. Any more than a real conservative guy will not challenge a woman's womanhood. You don't do that. There are lines you don't cross when you're talking about gender lines. But the left will cross it. They want effeminate men. They want chumps. Rush Limbaugh actually commented about this. Maybe we'll play that clip a little bit later. I'll save that. But he was right. I mean, I've known this for quite some time, but it's good to share it. It's good to know that the great Rush Limbaugh thinks along the same lines. We have been emasculated. I talk about my sons all the time. They would come home from school, my older boys, and I'd say, how was school? Fine. They're learning a lot. I'd say, so what happened today? No, not much, Dad. I go, cool, tell me. Well, the teacher called, we were doing things in class and blah, blah, blah. And, she called on different students to do blankety blank. And I'd go, well, how'd you guys do? We didn't get called on. What do you mean didn't get called on? She doesn't call on guys. She calls on girls. Why does she call on girls? Because the boys always raise our hands and the girls won't. So she won't. She just quit even doing that. She just say something like Susan, Darla, Katie, and they have to answer. And it's part of this esteem building thing. And he went all the way through it. And I went, you got to be kidding me. Now, look, I don't mind that they want to have little girls feel more, that they can speak out and things like that. That's a great thing. I don't have daughters, but I would expect that. But they wouldn't have to ask my daughters. My daughters would have their hands up. And they'd say, yeah, I want to answer the question. And I know there are people like me out there. So, look, all I'm getting at, folks, is while we rest, while we go play, while we try to do our family stuff and all that, these people are plotting against us in every way humanly possible. And they're trying to enlist who we think were representing us. And I'll use George Bush as an example. They try to enlist a George Bush and make an example out of him. Like, George Bush is even speaking out against Donald Trump. Like that gives them some kind of, extra reinforcement. George Bush was a putz. And the more I think about him, the more I wish I had gone back in time and I lambasted him the same way before I got political. I got political during the time of Obama. People always ask me, why don't you bash Bush? If I had had the opportunity, I would be bashing Bush. I have it now. Today I'll bash him. I'm sure Brett did on Friday, but I didn't do this Friday's show, so I'll bash him on Monday. Anyway, my point is that if they deserve it, we're going to bash them. But there's so many things going on. So many things. Things that will test your sensibilities, that will make you understand how much this world tilted to the left. And it's time that we right at the ship. Got the earth back on its axis. Sit tight.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.